Good morning and welcome to the Microsoft Connection Seminar. How's everybody doing today?
Very good.
Excellent. My name is Matt Berg and I'm going to be presenting today. How many of you have been in one of our Microsoft Connection seminars in the past? I don't know why I asked because I can't see you or your hands, so that's good. So some of you might remember me. I've done a couple events here before. Chris Smith, this is his neighborhood, so he's over there down in the front. Chris is going to be here, able to help me answer some questions today. He's been up since he went to bed at 3:34 in the morning today, so he's a little groggy, but he'll be okay. So regardless, you can talk to any of us throughout the day. But the number one goal today is to make sure we are going to be productive. We're going to learn a lot about productivity, being more efficient with some of our applications, helping our systems become more secure. We have a little bit of housekeeping to do this morning before we get started. First thing I wanted to point out is that I give out a lot of links today. And so what I've done is I put all the links that I talk about, all the free downloads I reference, onto my website. So you can get to my website by going to www.mattberg.com. And if you forget that, just email me at mattberg@microsoft.com and I'll email you www.mattberg.com. So yeah, all the freebies, the anti-spyware program we'll talk about later, baseline security analyzer, links to webcasts, all listed right there on my site. So when you came in this morning, you checked in. Instead of just being a check-in desk, that's also an information station. So at that information station, we have our afternoon presenters. We have Rory and Raphael sitting out there, able to answer your questions, as well as me and Chris. So during a break, if we have a line, you can by all means talk to Rory, talk to Raphael, ask them anything you need to know. Also, you've probably mentioned, or you've probably noticed some of our partners sitting out there. We have them in the room today, and I'm going to introduce them to you in just a few minutes. Well, this is what we're going to be covering today. It's a whole new seminar since I'm sure last time you were here. We're starting off with security, keeping your PC safe and healthy. We're going to begin with Microsoft's new anti-spyware beta. How many people here today are running the new anti-spyware beta? Okay, great. That's about a little more than half of you. Excellent. So we're going to look in that. We're going to look at some in-depth advanced tools of the Microsoft anti-spyware. We're going to look at some really cool Windows XP security tools that are free, such as the malicious software removal tool. We're going to look at the Microsoft Baseline Security Analyzer as well. We're going to talk about ways to save money with Microsoft licensing. And then we're going to have a partner case study. We've got Scott from Sound Computers going to come and chat today, so we'll introduce you in just a sec, Scott. We'll make sure the most important part of the day is the break, so we will have 2 breaks today, probably around 9:45 to 10. Then we're going to come back. Second part of the day is going to be covering securing your small business and backing up your data. You know, there's one thing when you protect yourself from all those hackers and virus writers. It's another thing when you protect yourself from yourself. So we're going to be looking at that with backing up. We're going to look at your first server with Windows Small Business Server 2003. We're going to look at things like group policy, protecting your company from those employees who like to play around with files on the server that they shouldn't be touching. We're going to look at organizing files a little bit better with Windows SharePoint services and working remotely with Remote Web Workplace. Second favorite part of the day, which is the second break. And we're going to come back and talk about managing your customers more efficiently. We're going to look at 2 brand new products. One is called Microsoft Business Contact Manager version 2.0. We're about to release a new version of that. Biggest difference between that and the previous version is 1, it allows you to share your database with other people on your network. And 2, it will synchronize with a Pocket PC. We're going to start off with keeping your PC safe and healthy. We're going to look at some ways to save money through Microsoft licensing programs. And we're going to have Scott talk about a case study for a customer who has rolled out Small Business Server 2003. So in keeping your PC safe and healthy, these are some of the topics we're going to be covering. We're going to start off with the brand new Microsoft Anti-Spyware Beta 1. And we're going to be looking inside and out of that. We're going to see how it's going to help you keep your PC safe, more safe from those threats that are out there. We're going to look at the Microsoft software removal, the malicious software removal tool. No, yes, the Microsoft software removal tool. It just gets rid of software. That's it. Malicious software removal tool, which is a free download that most of you probably don't know about that you can get through Windows Update that allows you to remove the most malicious worms and viruses and malware that is out there. Now, this is normally a part of Windows Update, and when you do have the automatic Windows Update running in the background, you don't see this run. but we'll talk about where you can get a hold of it, how you can download it, and make sure you're in good shape. A great tool that I recommend everybody get a hold of is the Microsoft Baseline Security Analyzer. Has anyone used the Baseline Security Analyzer? Okay, great. Just a couple of you. So we'll show you how that works. What this particular application does is it lets you know what potential security risks your computer may have. Things may look like they're running fine, but if everyone on your computer has no password or everyone's password is password, this is going to notify you and let you know why that is a particular issue for you. We'll talk a little bit about what's new in Windows XP Service Pack 2, which is predominantly a security release. We're going to look at some parts of Windows XP that we really haven't covered in quite some time, but it's always good to have a little refresher and go back with System Restore and Windows Backup. So 3 big things that we're going to see with the Microsoft Windows Anti-Spyware is one, that it detects and removes spyware. A lot of spyware, anti-spyware applications out there do that. How many people have another type of anti-spyware program? Okay, which ones are you guys using? Just get curiosity. S-Patrol, Spybot, Search and Destroy. Okay, I heard Adaware is another one. What did you say?
Spysweeper.
Spysweeper, okay. So most of those are how much? Free, right? It's pretty good. But oftentimes these freebies, now I'm not saying they're bad, but what happens is they detect and remove. But you have to get the spyware first in order for it to get rid of it, right? One of the benefits of Microsoft Windows Anti-Spyware is that it will catch these threats before they get installed on your system in the first place through some of their monitoring tools. So we're going to look at some of those. I'm going to show you how they work. Also allows you to clean up your system after the fact. Anyone have their browser hijacked before? Yeah, not fun stuff. We'll talk about Browser Restore. We're going to talk about Trax Eraser as well. Okay, well, let's jump into the demo, and I'm going to use Microsoft Virtual PC. Those of you who've been to our seminars before, we've been using this for quite some time, and you've seen this, but those of you who aren't familiar, this program, Microsoft Virtual PC 2004, allows me to run these demo machines on top of my laptop. So here I've got my laptop, I've got an external hard drive, and I'm running a Windows XP machine and a Windows Small Business Server 2003 virtually on this computer. Let's go into anti-spyware. And first thing we see is this big red X, and most of you know that red X's are bad, right? Basically, what this is telling me that this is a demo machine, and I wipe the changes each time. So it says that my last scan was March 9th. Given that it is now May, having run a spyware scan 2 months ago probably isn't the best thing. Now, I could run the quick scan right now, but an 8-minute spyware scan does not make for a very good demo, especially this early in the morning when you have not had all your coffee. So I'm not going to do that, but you can manually run a quick scan. It's very easy to do. What I'd like to do is look at some of the other parts built into here. First of all, you can set up your scanner to automatically run in the middle of the night or when you're not at your desk. Like I said, on this particular computer, this is a Pentium 4, 2 gigahertz. This takes about 8 minutes to run, and I know that because after it's finished, when I wake up in the morning, there's a summary screen telling me how many files it scanned and about how long it took. So anywhere between 7, 15, 20 minutes, depending on the speed of your computer and how much junk you have on there. So we can run that scan now. We can go into our scan options and then decide and then set up when this will actually run. Let's go into my settings. So we can enable, first of all, we can enable the automatic update. So aside from running itself, we can tell it to go online and get the latest list of spyware. Like old antivirus software, old spyware, anti-spyware programs are not very beneficial because new spyware is being written all the time. So we got the auto updater, we got the real-time protection. This was the part I was telling you about where this will catch spyware real-time. If spyware is attempted to be installed on your computer, this will give you a warning box letting you know that something is about to happen. Now, you can turn those alerts on or off. If you don't like all those colorful boxes coming up, you can block them if you'd like. Now, this is my favorite part of the anti-spyware program, and this is really baffling to me. It's great that when you get Microsoft Anti-Spyware, you become part of this community called Spynet, and you have the option of turning it on or off. But what Spynet actually does is it ties you in with a community of several 100,000 other users at least who are getting spyware like yourself, and this ties it to a central database, allowing people or allowing the anti-spyware folks to track and determine what spyware is getting out there to what parts of the country, or the world, as a matter of fact. So this way, those people working on the code, working on the updates, can hammer out and get rid of this spyware as quick as possible. Any questions so far?
Is there an estimated cost?
Yes, there is an estimated cost. That's a good question. So this is beta, so right now it's free. But when the product comes out towards the middle of this year, the price is going to be free. So yes, is that a good price? Is that okay? Good. Like, I take full responsibility for it. Yes, Bill and I were talking, and I told. So no, the product is going to be free for end users, for desktops. Now, they were talking about a server version, but I have not heard anything about that yet. That probably will be a pay-for product. So network administrators out there, that would be something that you can put on your server that would then try to protect your desktops from spyware at that point. Now, let me take a step back. I'm talking to you about anti-spyware, but let's talk about what spyware actually is. How does it get on your computer? What does it do, etc. So what is spyware designed to do when it gets on your computer?
To track your movements.
Track your movements. So find out what websites you're visiting, what stuff you're interested in. What else?
Send information.
Send information. What does it do when you get it? How do you know you have it?
Slows down your machine.
Slows down your machine. Right. What else? Slows down your bandwidth. Right. What else? What else do you see if you know you have spyware? Do you guys get pop-ups in Washington State? Yeah? You do? Okay. Pop-ups, yes. So a couple of signs you know you have spyware is pop-ups is the biggest one, especially if you don't even have your web browser open and you're getting pop-ups. Who's seen that before? Pop-ups just randomly out of the blue. That's spyware. And why is your machine slowing down? Because oftentimes spyware tries to go into your boot. It tries to, when your registry runs or your computer's starting up, it starts itself up. And sometimes you have so much spyware, everything slows down. Also, spyware likes to attach itself to your web browser, like Internet Explorer. So sometimes when you open up the web browser, it takes forever. Remember when you first bought your computer, how fast the web browser opened up? And now it's crawling along there. Now, true or false? Spyware is designed to slow down, break, or crash your computer.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, false, right. Now, all right, now let's talk about why it actually happens. Okay? Why does spyware sometimes break computers, sometimes slow computers down, make computers crash? It's not because that it was intended to do that. The term malware is used to describe those applications. So viruses, worms, Trojan horses, etc. Spyware is just generally poorly written code. Oftentimes, spyware comes from an amateur programmer, and they don't do all the research to hack your computer the right way, right? And sometimes it just is not complete code. Oftentimes, spyware gets on your computer and doesn't even work, and you don't even realize it. So that's something to think about, too. Spyware isn't intended to break your computer. They're just trying to harvest information about you, and using this tool, we can prevent all of that from happening. All right, let's look at the real-time protection module right over here. So these have real-time security agents running in the background. For instance, right now we have 59 real-time checkpoints running. Now, this is great. This will allow you to identify what particular events in the history have prompted anti-spyware to take action. So, for instance, Internet Explorer alert, something has tried to install itself, or these folders, etc. We can go back, we can look at application agents, we can look at system agents, etc. So this is running, it's making sure programs are not trying to add to your startup folder, it's making sure programs are not trying to add on to Internet Explorer, etc., etc. All right, now, any questions so far about the real-time protection? Yes?
This isn't so much about the real-time protection. Is Microsoft planning on putting out something like a spyware deployer? For basically it deploys it from a central server or something like that?
Right. Question was, is Microsoft planning on creating software to allow this program to be deployed from a central server? Again, we're looking at a server-based version coming out towards the end of the year. There is no exact time frame on that. I haven't heard anything else. Otherwise, if you're running SMS, that's one way to deploy software as well. Right. But otherwise, there's kind of your two options there. Advanced tools. There's a couple buttons. One, first of all, if your browser has been hijacked, we've got Browser Restore. So Browser Restore will keep track of all of your previous home pages, so you can go back to whichever one you want. My last seminar, somebody said, those are all Microsoft websites. Will this only go back to a Microsoft website? The answer is no, but this is just how my machine was set up. So currently, our homepage is our company's internal website. However, if we wanted to go back in the history, at some point, maybe it was this one right over there, which I think redirects you to MSN. So you can go back, if your browser does get hijacked, and get all of your previous settings as well, including your start page, your search page, the unfound page. Okay, that's a funny name. But all those right there in the restore settings. Also, great tool called Tracks Eraser. Now you can use this for a couple ways. One, you can use this if simply you're sharing a computer with other people and you don't want them snooping around. But more importantly, this is great. Spyware oftentimes tries to go through your cookies and your temporary internet files and grab personal data about you from those folders. In this particular case, you can use the Erase Tracks tool to remove that information. So we scroll down here, Internet Explorer history, Internet Explorer cookies, any other applications you might have installed, URL history, the intelligent forms where passwords are saved. Tell it to erase your tracks, say yes. It just takes just a few seconds, and it will erase all of those tracks, completely cleaning out your history on your machine. In this particular version, you have to do it manually, so I have not found a way to automatically clear your tracks. Now, you do have some options in Internet Explorer, though, where you can go and say, do not save cookies, or dump out temporary internet files at a certain size. So you can play with those settings within that web browser, but this tool will not erase the tracks automatically.
Is there a way to adjust the Internet Explorer cookies? Sometimes you might need them for, say you've got Hotmail or Excite, and you don't want those cookies deleted. Is there a way to specify those as to be a safe cookie?
Chris, do you know how to keep certain cookies and get rid of others by using this? I know this just wipes them all out if you were to select it. So,
yeah, there's really no way to do it within this tool, and not even within Internet Explorers. I know they're trying to build in functionality that aligns with your secure sites. So you have secure sites within Internet Explorer that you specify. I believe you can do that within Internet Explorer, but not related to cookies.
right. That's a whole nother webcast. And by the way, we do a lot, if you're interested in any of these topics that we do bring up, we do a lot of these webcasts for free. We have them online. Has anyone been to one of our webcasts, small business webcast? Great. Best part is you get to watch it at home from your pajamas, right? So if you go to Microsoft.com/smallbusiness, you can view some of our webcasts. We have a couple on security, kind of related to what you were asking, Bill. Other questions about Microsoft anti-spyware? If you have your hand up, go ahead and speak, because I can't see you. Yes, Howard.
Okay, you mentioned before the beta is out now, and another version is coming out later. Which is better, or is there any difference to use the beta now or wait for the other one?
Howard, that's an excellent question. The question Howard asked was, so right now, this is the beta version. Should, essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, but should you wait to install this until the full version comes out, or should go with the beta? Normally, I tell customers, I said, look, if a product is beta, don't put it on your main machine. Make sure you do a lot of backups, etc., and wait for the final version. In this particular case, we got this program by purchasing another company. So the code was already complete. The program ran great. So in this particular case, I'd say go for it. You can install the beta version for free. And on that site are lists of a couple of incompatibilities that are out there. So just make sure you read what programs they're not compatible with, and if you're running a program, you probably should wait. But if you don't use any of that software on the list, I'd say go for it and try it out. You can get a hold of the Microsoft anti-spyware by going to Microsoft.com/security, or you can visit my website, mattberg.com. I've got the anti-spyware on there as well as a link, so it's right there on that front page in my personal SharePoint site. All right, good stuff. Now, spyware, while it's becoming more and more annoying part of our lives and at work and at home today, it's still a small part of the pie when it comes to securing your desktop and securing your business. So we're going to look at some other tools that work along with that. So this is a program I have over here called the Microsoft Malicious Software Removal Tool. Again, that's downloadable from Microsoft.com. But if you are running automatic updates, so when you have your updates not only being downloaded but also installed, once a month the malicious software removal tool will run itself, and it will check your computer for the biggest viruses, worms, etc. out there. So I'm going to open this up. Now this is an old version, and it is telling me that this is an old version. I just did this for demonstration purposes. And this is going to run a quick scan of my computer. Now this does not replace an antivirus program. I hope. I'm not going to ask who has antivirus out there, because the one or two people that don't always feel really embarrassed. So, but you have to have not only an antivirus program, but an up-to-date antivirus program. Now, if for some reason something slips through the cracks and you get some malicious software on your computer, then this is good. This is a scan you can run. So for instance, this checked for Doom Juice. It checked for MS Blast, MyDoom, NetSky, Sasser, Zindos, some of the big viruses at the time when this came out in February. But again, we update this every month, every second Tuesday. Chris, is it Tuesday or Wednesday?
It's the second Tuesday of every month.
Second Tuesday of every month. Thank you, sir. And glad he's sitting there. Helps me out. In that case, so this will be available then, but if you have automatic updates, it'll download, it'll run itself. It will get rid of that malicious software. So very good thing to have. Now, I'll be honest. If you're running Windows XP Service Pack 2, you've got the firewall up, you've got an antivirus program that is up to date, odds are you're very unlikely to get some of these things. But again, this is a tool designed for after the fact, kind of a disaster, after the disaster type program. Any questions on the malicious software removal tool? No? Okay, great. All right, well, next up, we've got my next, I'd say, my favorite security tool of all. This is the Microsoft Baseline Security Analyzer. When I first heard about it, when I started this on this presentation team, it sounded really technical, and I didn't know what a baseline was. And okay, I did, but it was a little intimidating. Well, I got it, I ran it, and I couldn't have been more pleased. So again, another free download through Microsoft.com/downloads. You can go to Microsoft.com/security, or you can go to my website and have a look here. So what this will do is scan an individual computer or an entire network for security vulnerabilities. Now, let me start out by saying that this will only scan Windows XP, Windows 2000, or Windows NT4 computers, but Windows NT4 is no longer supported, so I don't recommend you have that. This will not scan Windows 98 or Windows ME machines. You ever think about how long ago Windows 98 came out? That is over 7 years old. That's a 7-year-old operating system. How many people really keep new technology that long? Does anyone have a 7-year-old cell phone with them? Remember those 7 years ago? You have a 7-year-old cell phone with you? All right, I got to see this. Which one do you have? He's got the brick. No, he's got, oh, the old Nokia. So usually everyone's supposed to go no and they laugh, but so I have one smart aleck who actually has one. So generally getting on the newer operating system really helps, because we're constantly working on the security on that. I already ran a report, so we can pick a security report to view. I ran a couple of these. This is my last one. And one of the beauties of these security reports is that they're in plain old English. They're easy to understand and interpret. Also, it comes with feedback to let you know what you can do to fix this problem. Here we go. So first of all, it uses a key system. Red X means you're doing great. I'm just kidding. Red X is a bad thing. First of all, it found out that my Office updates are missing. So like Windows updates, we have Office updates that you can get by going to office.microsoft.com. Now, we could find out what was scanned by clicking the What Was Scanned button, the details of the results, and this is great, how to correct this. So aside from just scaring you and telling you everything that is wrong, this will tell you how to fix these particular security holes, security issues. So let's scroll down here and find out that we have some problems with our local account passwords. They're either blank, simple, or could not be analyzed. So what is a good, bad example of a password to have? I don't know. How about password? So that is considered a simple password. Having no password is also a particular problem. So you're really opening the door for somebody to hack your network. You're opening the door for an employee to figure out the administrative password, etc. So always a good idea to have strong passwords. How many administrators should you have on a machine or a network? Take a guess. I heard 1. Does anyone have a number larger than 1 but less than 3? 2. I like that number, yes. Okay, well, why would you want to have that second administrator on a computer?
The main domain admin and then the admin of the actual machine.
In case one gets
Way too technical for us. He's saying, well, you need the main domain admin. No, what'd you say?
get fired.
In case someone gets fired, I heard at my last event, in case your administrator gets hit by a bus. Yes. Bottom line is you just need a backup. That's what I was looking for there. Always thinking a step ahead, though. I like that. So again, basically, if the administrator forgets his password, if the administrator leaves the company, etc., you always have a backup. So leave it up to the manager, the owner of the company, to have that particular administrative password. So again, you could spend hours upon hours looking through this and finding out what's good, what's bad, and how to fix it all. But again, how to fix it is the most important part. You can go ahead and click how to correct this, and it will walk you through how to correct those particular security vulnerabilities. Now, each time you open this, it will go to the website and make sure that it has the latest definitions. So the baseline security analyzer knows what the latest security threats are. Any questions about this? Yes?
How much traffic does this put on your network when it's running?
Question is, how much traffic does it put on your network when it's running? Hardly any to worry about unless you're on a token ring network. Those, 15, 20K networks, probably a little slow. So hardly any. I would, if you're a network administrator, I would only run this during night, not probably during when everyone's working. But yeah.
On the passwords, does it tell you which accounts, though?
On the password, does it tell you which accounts? I do not believe so. If anything, as an administrator, it would allow you to realize that you should probably set up a group policy. Go in there, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but forcing users to take action, requiring them to change their password to a strong password that has upper, lowercase letters, numbers, and non-alphanumeric symbols. So, yeah, if we go at how to correct this, it'll simply walk you through how to set that up, but it won't tell you what exactly is there. Password uses the word password is bad. Or admin, that's another bad one. All right. Any more questions on the baseline security analyzer? Great. Okay, well, let's move on then. So here we're talking about protecting yourself from outside threats, from worms and viruses and malware and spyware. But, that's not the biggest problem companies face as far as security or losing data. The biggest issue they face, the biggest threats are themselves, are their own employees, are the people who do the work on the computers every day. And that's why we're going to look at a couple applications we have here. One is called System Restore, and the other is Windows Backup. How many people have been saved at one point by System Restore before? Excellent, almost everybody here today. So let's have a look at System Restore, and we're going to go a different way. A lot of people have a problem where they look at this, and instead of help and support, they just don't see anything there. In their mind, it blanks out the help and support button. I know, in the old days, Windows 3.1, it wasn't very helpful, but we've come a long way. Let's have a look at this help and support. First of all, there it is. Again, you can pick your category of how you need your help. A lot of the people I work with often use the news groups. They click right over here, and they go get support with a news group where we have Microsoft MVPs and experts ready to answer your questions. Sometimes people will use the remote assistance tool. They'll invite a friend to remote assistance. In this particular case, though, we can get to System Restore right from the Help and Support Center. So let's click Undo Changes to Your Computer with System Restore. Well, it's off, so let's hit yes to turn that on. Allows me to turn it on right here and allows me to pick how much disk space I want to use. If you have a big hard drive, I recommend going all the way up to that 12%. In this particular case, that's about 1,200 megabytes. If you have a very small hard drive, you're limited for space, you can take that and crank it all the way down. However, you're going to be limited to how many System Restores are going to be on your machine. So if you go all the way up to the top, you can get as many as 3 weeks of System Restore system backups in there. Now, what sort of data does System Restore back up? Is it going to back up your My Documents folder? No. Is it going to back up some pictures you took last week? No. System Restore is going to back up your critical system files. So for instance, the database file that your system reads right as it boots up, that's called your registry. That is something that is quite vulnerable when you install some new stuff. So it will back up that registry. It'll store a backup of it. Important system files like drivers or DLL files. DLL is a file that has a lot of information for programs to run. So once in a while, in the old days, I've met people with small hard drives who said, well, in order to free up space, I started deleting things that didn't work or I didn't need. So I'll double click in a program. If nothing happens, then I deleted it. So this one guy went through all his DLLs in Windows, the Windows folder, deleted all the DLL files, and computer wouldn't start up. This was back in 2001. He had just gotten Windows XP, so we were able to help him get his stuff back through System Restore. But this is what the System Restore helps you do. So if you're installing a new piece of hardware, you should create a System Restore checkpoint. If you're installing some brand new software, same thing, recommend you do that. Now fortunately, System Restore does create an automatic restore point every day, and I'm going to show you where that is. So now that we turn this back on, we'll give this a second there. We can go back into System Restore and create our own System Restore point. And you'll see it does not take very long to do that. As a matter of fact, since I turned it on, it's creating one right now. So let's go back to undo our change of the System Restore. And I have two options: restore my computer to an earlier time or create a restore point. So we can say point before installing new scanner, and I hit create. Like everything else in Windows, System Restore has many ways for you to reach it. One way is through the Help and Support Center. Another way is by going to Start, All Programs, Accessories, and System Tools. So you can get to System Restore that way as well. So now that we have our restore point, we can go back to the home and we can say restore my computer to an earlier time. Hit next. We are shown a calendar. We can go back to the last date that we had a restore point. Since I just turned it on today, today is the last date. Notice there was that checkpoint it created, and then the point before installing that new scanner. I would hit next, restart my machine with those files back into place. Now, if you can't even get into the operating system, are you stuck or not? Not necessarily, no, that's right. You can hit a key like F8, which allows you to boot to, there's an option called last known good configuration. So this will look at System Restore, find the last working System Restore point, and bring that back to your machine. So, questions on System Restore?
What if that part doesn't work? Is there another option or configuration you can change for that?
If last known good configuration doesn't work, that's the point where you want to call a partner like Scott. That's what partners are for, to help you with that. You know, really, I can't start troubleshooting at that point, but you know, a local technology partner is probably your best bet.
But don't they have like an option to change it so it, or a System Restore
Well,
where you can boot to it?
Right. There's the automated system recovery, the ASR, that you can go into. For everyday users, I don't recommend. I'm guessing, are you an administrator? Yeah. So most of us here today aren't. So again, we can sit and do techie troubleshooting, but come talk to me during the break, and I'm more than happy to chat with you a little bit further about that. All right. So it's one thing if you do wipe out all of your system files, but it's another thing when you lose important data files that you're reusing. So that's where backup comes into play. A lot of people don't realize that Windows XP has a backup tool built in. It's kind of buried a little bit, but I will show you where that is. So this is a Windows XP Professional. Go into Accessories, System Tools, and Backup is right there. Now, I do find this ironic that if you look really closely, the icon for the backup is a floppy disk. Can anybody get all their files onto a floppy disk anymore? Yeah. I'm guessing in our next version of Windows, we might need a new icon for the backup there. So I think I just hit character map instead. That's another demo. All right, so let's go into our backup again. Now what's great is this opens up in wizard mode. So you don't have to be a backup expert in order to do a backup. Often the questions are pretty self-explanatory. You hit next and it asks you, what do you want to do? Do you want to backup or do you want to restore? So we'll say backup, hit next. Whose documents? Whose stuff? My documents, everybody's, the whole computer, or you let me choose particular files. Now, when you do My Documents and Settings, that's going to back up your My Documents folder. It's also going to back up customized things like your favorites, your network neighborhood areas, your printers, etc. So you can go ahead and select that everything on your desktop, your cookies, etc. Also, funny thing, it defaults to the floppy disk drive. Most of us new computers don't even have floppy disk drives anymore. So we're going to go and pick a different place for that to go by hitting Browse. Now, normally, in the real world, you would not put the backup you do of your hard drive on your same hard drive, but for demo purposes, I'm going to actually put this onto our network. That is a good place to put backups, though. If you do have a server with a network, put your backup on the network, and again, that's assuming the network is in fact getting backed up. So we'll go ahead and we'll put it, look on the entire network there. We'll find a folder, oops, somewhere in that server. Go in the user folder. We'll just dump that right back there on the server because we know that our server gets backed up every day. So pat backup, hit OK, and hit next, and then that thing would run. Now, I'm not going to run an entire backup right now. Again, same thing with running the anti-spyware scan. Not incredibly exciting to watch a backup get run. But this is where the backup would go. Now, same thing after I created that backup. If I needed to pull the entire backup back or just a few particular files, I could go ahead and use that restore button to get my data back. Now, do you have any questions about backing up or media to use for backups? Yes?
On this backup, is there any way of putting it to a CD or a DVD and then having it a bootable?
Great question. The question was, actually it was a two-part question, can you back up directly to a CD or DVD and then make that backup bootable? No, no, and no. So unfortunately, this backup needs to go onto a disk. So like a hard drive or removable media, not optical media. However, there is a way to do that. Now, you have two options. One, most CD burning software and DVD burning software comes with something called drive letter access that essentially makes Windows XP think that that is simply another hard drive. So if you have a DVD burner, you can tell it to burn to that letter drive and make sure you have a rewritable disk in there, and that would work. But what oftentimes people do is they'll back it up to a hard drive, and then they'll set up a task to automatically copy that file over to a disk. So that's one option you have there. As far as the automated boot, no. There are other backup programs that are more advanced than this one that will do that, though. Now, what I recommend, though, and this is becoming more and more prevalent these days, is getting an external USB 2.0 hard drive for backing up. And I'm actually running a USB hard drive for my presentation today because it's incredibly fast, up to 480 megabits. But the price is right. Those hard drive backups, the price can be anywhere from under $100 to about $250, $275 for a 300 gigabyte hard drive. So does anybody have more than 300 gigabytes worth of personal stuff? Okay, I'm guessing they're movies and sounds and right? For work related? Okay, there we go. So one of those big hard drives is absolutely a great thing to have. You can just remove it out of a plug. You don't have to install it into your computer. So that's what I recommend for backing up these days. They're becoming really popular, and you're not limited on space like you are with a DVD or a blank CD. Backup questions? Yeah.
Is there a way to create the backup so that it can span more than one DVD?
The question is, can you create the backup so it can span more than one DVD? Unfortunately not. So if you create a backup, it's going to be however big it's going to be, unless you start planning out the file size. There are other applications out there that do let you break up files, WinZip, WinRAR, some of those applications I know. But again, there are some other backup tools that do allow you to do that. So personally, do I care if you're using the Windows backup? Not really. I just want you to be using backup programs. That's my biggest concern for everybody out here related to security. All right. All right, no more backup questions. Good. All right, so let's jump out of that. And we're going to go. We've got a couple slides out here. So Let's go ahead. So let's go back to some of the anti-spyware that we were talking about a little bit earlier. These are the messages that you could see when you have the Microsoft anti-spyware program running. The green one means you're generally okay. That means an application change has been allowed. So it's usually if it's a Microsoft product or a registered product. So it means it's okay, it made a change, we know it's not spyware. Blue means it's not sure. So you have the option of allowing or blocking that particular application from installing. Red is it knows it's spyware or adware and it's trying to install, so you can either allow it or remove it. And orange means it's been absolutely blocked and it doesn't give you the option if something is that malicious, when it tries to run a particular application. Sometimes viruses or malware will get on your computer and try to actually run itself. And so this would stop that from actually happening. So that malicious software removal tool, again, removes malicious software only after you have actually received it. It is not an alternative to an antivirus program. It is a supplement for it. So it's important to remember that. And it downloads every second Tuesday of the month if you have automatic updates running, or it is available for you to download at that point. Baseline Security Analyzer, the best part about it is that it is free. It runs in Windows 2000 XP or Windows Server 2003, nothing below that. It scans for the common system misconfigurations we were talking about, as well as missing security updates. So again, you can download that for free. Recommend trying it out on an individual machine, putting it on your server if you can, or talking to your administrator about having that installed. In this particular case, if we were to have any of these malicious pieces of software on our computer, Service Pack 2 would have actually prevented most of them from happening, such as the Blaster and the Sasser. Those were both worms that made it through different ports on your system. So if you had your firewall up, these would not have even made it through into your computer. MyDoom and Nimda were attachments that were part of emails that you got spoofed from somebody else. Now, if you did have Service Pack 2, Outlook Express was your email tool, it would have actually blocked those attachments from even being downloaded. Other spoofs, etc., blocked by the Internet Explorer pop-up blocker that we've talked about for our last few seminars, which is also recorded on your DVD. So you can learn more about that when you take off today and get that nifty little Microsoft Connections DVD-ROM. Oh, this was the demo. Yes, we've already demoed that, so let's go to the next slide. A lot of resources we have here today. I'll leave that up for a second or two, but just for those of you who came in a little bit late, wanted to remind you that it's on my website, mattberg.com, M-A-T-T-B-E-R-G. Also, you can go to microsoft.com/connections and click on Past Attendee, meaning you had been here before, and there are links to these helpful tools on there. A couple good phone numbers are up there as well. If you need help installing Service Pack 2, you can call that number, 888-SP2-HELP. Or if you need Windows Update and virus support, again, it's 866-PC Safety. Notice that first number is an 888. That second number is an 866. So, again, some support, some security information from HP. A lot of good stuff on those resources. So again, we'll make the slide deck available for you to download off of either of those websites. So we'll move on. HP is our national co-sponsor as far as hardware goes, but not a lot of people realize that they also take security very seriously. And so one of the things they're doing is when you purchase a server with software pre-installed, Small Business Server 2003, they're also throwing in some security software from Trend Micro. They've got the Trend Micro client server messaging suite on there that has antivirus and spam blocking built right in. So a lot of security you're going to get just by buying one of those servers directly from HP. We'll talk about some of their offerings a little bit later during the day, but they are pretty darn affordable for small businesses. So what is Microsoft Genuine Software? We've heard about, I'm sure some of you might have read about it or seen about it online, with this new program we have called the Genuine Advantage. We are rewarding our customers for making sure that their software is in fact genuine. So just want to talk about that just a little bit today, like what we have right now. We have 3 special offerings for customers who show and verify that their software is in fact genuine. So has anyone done that yet so far in downloading something? It says click here to verify it was genuine. You either put in your product ID, a couple of you, or if you have a license, it does it automatically. Okay, great. So first of all, some of the things you're able to do is create a public and private website for less than $20 a month. So this is Windows SharePoint services. This is normally $40 to $50 a month. And again, by using the genuine, proving you've got the genuine software, click $20 instead of $40 or $50. We have a program or some online tools called Microsoft List Builder, which is an online marketing tool for those of you who send out newsletters to their customers. It's a great way for your customers to decide whether they want to subscribe to a newsletter that you are offering or not. For instance, if you have a sporting goods store, you have customers that could subscribe to your bicycle newsletter or your tennis newsletter or your baseball newsletter, but they don't have to get your generic email regarding all three. Normally that's over $20 a month. We're giving you that for $10. Normally when we do trial software, it's 30 days free and that's it. In this case, you can get OneNote 2003 for 6 whole months for free. So good stuff you should check out there. You know, the reason we're doing this is we want to make sure our customers are not stuck in certain situations when they need support, when they need those updates. Occasionally, what happens is customers will buy software from somebody and find out later when they need that support that their software was not genuine, that perhaps they were given counterfeit software, etc. So this is something that happens, and it's not your fault. It's often somebody has sold counterfeit software somewhere up the line, or something like that. Now, if in fact you do find out that your software is not genuine, when it says, I'm sorry, this is not genuine, it's going to give you a page that you can print. What I recommend doing, and I've had a couple of customers have this happen before, and I told them to do this, they print up that page and they take it to the person they got their software from. If they bought a computer from a system builder, they take that and said, look, I paid for this computer with Windows XP. This is not genuine. I would like a genuine copy. Sometimes it's it's something that got overlooked. They accidentally put the same code on 2 or 3, whatever. They'll take care of you. If they don't, there are some resources for you to kind of pursue that to make sure you are able to get that genuine software, and those 3 links are behind me. So we want to make sure that everybody is on that genuine software and is able to take advantage of all those great offers I had there on the slide. Question, yes?
Those 3 links are on your website?
Yep, same thing. This whole slide deck is downloadable from my website as well. Yeah. So questions about that? So anyway, it's a good way to protect yourselves, and that's the most important thing there, and also a good way to get some goodies, some good deals. Now, how do you make sure you are acquiring Microsoft software? One thing is, when you buy a computer, you can buy a computer with Windows XP pre-installed. Directly, that's OEM, that's the second one, I'm sorry, directly from the equipment manufacturer. Another way is off the store shelves, it's a tongue twister, full package product. So shrink wrapped copy off the shelves. But another way, and this is what I'm going to talk about right now, it's called the Microsoft Volume Licensing Program. Has anyone ever purchased software, Microsoft or not, through a licensing program before? Great. Good way to save money, right? Good way to organize your license a little bit better. And now that's what we're going to look at. We have a couple of programs designed specifically for the small business owners and managers like yourselves, allowing you to participate in our licensing program, get these significant discounts, participate in the software assurance program by only starting off with a minimum of 5 licenses. Here's an example. We used to explain it all on slides, but now with this example, it should make it a little bit easier to understand. So in this particular case, this company acquired 30 licenses. And let me explain where we got that number 30. So we've got 1 copy of Small Business Server 2003 Premium Edition. That comes with 5 what are called client access licenses. So this allows 5 computers or people to connect simultaneously into the server. Since there were 10 employees, we added 5 more with the 5 client license pack. So we're up to 10. So even at that first purchase, we could participate in the open license program if we wanted to. We got 10 copies of Windows XP Professional. We upgraded 10 Windows 98 machines, and we added 10 copies of Office 2003 Small Business Edition. So instead of buying these many pieces of cardboard boxes and having all these CDs and all these holograms with the license and the yellow stickers on the back of the CDs, this particular example went through a licensing program where they spoke to a licensing specialist, like a partner like Scott, or directly through HP, called them up, said, I'd like to speak to a licensing expert. So out of the box, if they were to purchase these off store shelves, they were looking at about $8,800, but had they gone through the open license program, looking at $7,700. So a savings of over $1,100. Now again, I'm talking 30 licenses here, but this is something that you could participate in by going to only 5 licenses. And one way to do that is mixing and matching, something you're totally allowed to do. Maybe you want 2 copies of Office, 2 copies of MapPoint, and a OneNote. 5, there you go, there's 5 licenses. You're going to get that discount, which is anywhere between 10, 15, all the way up to 30% on some products. Now, one of the beauties of open license is that, first of all, after you purchase those 5 licenses, for the next 2 years, you are eligible to get that same discount on anything else you buy, Microsoft Business Software. Have to say business software. Those of you are not going to get discounts on Xbox games. So you buy 5 on Monday, and then 6, 7 months down the line, you realize you need another copy of Office. You can go ahead and get that 20 to 30% discount, however much off that particular product. So that's good for 2 years. We have a program called the Home Use Program. So when you purchase software through the licensing program, like Microsoft Office, let's say you buy 10 copies for the Office, those 10 employees are able to install a copy of Office 2003 so they can work at home, so on their home computers. We also have things called e-learning. We have online classes and training that you can participate in. Part of the licensing program, we have what's called the TechNet Online Concierge Chat, so you can go online and chat with somebody in support real time if you have any questions. And also you have the ability to do a cold server backup for disaster recovery. So if you buy the software for a server, you can put another copy on another server that you use for restoring if in case your server does go down. So there are a lot of benefits by participating in our licensing program and then our software assurance program. Software assurance is what you're going to want to purchase as an add-on to your software to ensure that you have the latest version. So for instance, if I were to purchase MapPoint 2004 with software assurance, then when the next version comes out, which will be 2006 at some point in 2005, I know that makes no sense, but then I would be entitled to an upgrade and I wouldn't have to pay again for that particular upgrade. So I could probably spend 4 hours on licensing. I can guarantee I could put you all to sleep too if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. So I think at this point, I'll take some questions on licensing if you have any. Anybody? Yes?
How long is this good for? Is this a time limit thing, like it's good for 3 years, or?
Good question. So how long is it good for? So the basic licensing is for 2 years. So you get that discount for 2 years. Software assurance, you have to participate for a minimum of 3 years. So yes. And there are different payments involved at different times.
Now, software assurance, though?
Yes.
How does that work? Because the authorization number is good for only 2 years, right?
It depends which program you participate in with how software assurance works. And that's why it's tricky. It's based on custom tailoring. That's why you actually have to recommend you do talk to a particular person expert based on your situation. So yeah, it could be 3 years, but again, it depends on whether you renew a previous license, et cetera, et cetera. So it can get complicated. Question? Yes?
You've already purchased individual licenses. How can you then convert them to open license?
Great question. So the question is, if you already have some licenses, how do you convert them to open license? One way is through upgrades, but again, I recommend at that point talking to a licensing expert. Yeah. Now, Scott, you've done some open license quite a bit, I'm sure. Yep. So raise your hand, show everybody where you are. He's down here. And I guess when we take a break, you'll stick around, be able to answer some questions as well. Awesome. Great. Well, here's some licensing resources. Now, we have a Microsoft hotline designed just for your questions and your different scenarios that you throw out there, so you can call that number. It's the third bullet point right over there. HP also has the licensing number, so if you want to purchase the software, we don't sell our licenses directly. We sell them through licensing specialists, licensing partners. So you can call HP, you can tell them that you are interested in speaking to a Microsoft licensing specialist and asking them to help you out. Now online, we have a website. It's called the Microsoft Small Business Center. It's microsoft.com/smallbusiness. And it is a pretty darn useful website. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, I recommend you do that. Aside from our events on the right-hand side where you can find the next time we're in town, also some forums. So we have some security forums and some small business forums. We have some good articles on better ways to do certain things. So in this particular screenshot, we have selling online, 8 rules to live by. A lot of customers I meet finally make this their homepage because the content does change so often. So I really recommend that when you have the opportunity, you check out that Small Business Center. We also have our webcasts on there as well. So you can watch any of our webcasts for free, live or on demand. So we have over 100 webcasts pre-recorded. We have some on anti-spyware. We have some on MapPoint. We have some on just on what's new in Service Pack 2. You can go ahead and check those out. You can go into our small business news group and look for support, ask questions, and actual Microsoft employees are going to be there to answer questions in those communities. So a lot of resources for you, all under the umbrella of Microsoft.com/smallbusiness. And I'm sure you've noticed that URL on every single slide today, just to emphasize how important that is. Now, one of the things you're going to receive today at the end of the day is the Microsoft Resource Toolkit DVD. So this is a DVD-ROM. Everyone's going to get one in their kit when they walk out the door today. And on there are all the software products we covered today, all information about licensing and servers and Windows XP and the anti-spyware. So you can pop that into your computer. You also have a 60-day trial of MapPoint on there, as well as a $250 value certificate for a class at New Horizons Learning Center. So make sure you don't lose that very valuable DVD-ROM. These were the online resources I was just talking about, the Microsoft Small Business Center, the online services, small business communities, really all accessible under Microsoft.com/smallbusiness.